So we got to talk about Raw last night. One of the best episodes I think they put on in quite some time. There was a lot of really big angles going on. They pushed the envelope as far as they could, and there was also a couple of good matches. You know, Raw is very hard to watch on some weeks because the 3 hours that they've had since 2012, it's just a very long show. And because of that, you're going to have your matches and your segments that just feel like they're just filling up space. This show didn't really have much of that, and I think the better Raw shows are the ones that they try not to have too much of that in there, but the unfortunate reality is it's going to be in there, especially since you've got pay-per-views now that only have 5, 6, 7 matches. For WrestleMania, it's going to be 8 matches, 8 matches for each night, so 16 matches total is the plan. There were a number of just phenomenal segments on the show, starting with Cody Rhodes' opening promo where The Rock appeared unadvertised and whispered something. Now, I was noticing that on social media, people were saying that they thought The Rock was saying, "You're right, I'm going to turn on Roman." And that's not what he said. He basically said, "I'm going to make you bleed tonight." And then later they asked The Rock, and The Rock was like, "Why don't you ask Cody?" And then when they asked Cody, he's like, "It doesn't matter because he's not going to be able to fulfill that promise." Well, The Rock did fulfill that promise. During the main event, Jey Uso and Nakamura, the Bloodline came out. The anti-Bloodline came out, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, and Cody, and they brawled with the members of the Bloodline. But Drew, which had been foreshadowed earlier in the night in the background talking to Paul Heyman, one of the best little Easter eggs they've done in quite some time because they didn't draw attention to it. He was just there in the background. It was so well done. He would come out on behalf of the Bloodline, which is interesting considering that the reason why he's even a heel now is because he hates the fact that of Jey Uso and what he did to him, and is just angry at his sort of the fact that he's been screwed over from time to time. Now, afterward, of course, The Rock would beat up Cody and just destroy him. I mean, he left him bloody. Cody was busted wide open. I don't know if it was I think it was a blood pack, but it may have been a blade job. I'm not sure. In the back where it was raining. It's so uncomfortable to shoot stuff in the rain, man. It sucks. But they did it, and The Rock wiped Cody's blood on the belt just like how I promised Mama Rhodes. So it was a phenomenal group of segments. The only thing is, man, I am starting to feel now that The Rock is overshadowing Roman Reigns. You know, for the first couple of weeks of this whole thing, I didn't really feel that strongly about it because I thought The Rock was going to be more like a B player and Roman's the A player. But The Rock and the energy that he brings is so overwhelming that he just overshadows everything. And right now, it certainly feels like Roman Reigns. Right now, the way WWE is right at this moment, it literally feels like Roman Reigns is a secondary player and that Cody Rhodes versus The Rock is the main feud. Not just with the work they've done on the promos, but the fact that Roman hasn't done that much at all. You know, there's some good stuff there. The segment on SmackDown on Friday was fine. The Pat McAfee show with Roman was great. The dude still has charisma, but the Roman-Cody rivalry is not connecting on the same level that it did last year. If you remember last year, the stuff that Paul Heyman said about Dusty Rhodes, and then that segment that Roman and Cody had about Dusty, I really like that they did that, and it became such a personal thing because Roman made it seem like Dusty cared more about him than Cody, which we know is not true, but it's good heel work. But it just feels like in the past few weeks, man, that Rock has just totally overshadowed Cody, dude. It really feels that way. Now, the other thing they did was they had a CM Punk segment where CM Punk came out and was talking trash to Drew McIntyre. It was in Chicago, of course. And what they basically did with the segment was they set up that Punk was going to be the special commentator for the match, for the World Heavyweight title match with Seth Rollins and Drew. Now, I was thinking Punk was going to do commentary for the entire weekend, or at least one of the nights. You know, Punk's been doing commentary since Ring of Honor, going back to 2003. He stepped in to do NXT commentary during the women's season, and it was really comedic. He was a Raw commentator for a while. He did some commentary in AEW. Like, the guy is multi-talented in that he can do commentary. He's also done MMA commentary. I mean, he's a great talker. And so setting this up, I thought was great. The segment was very long, and so they had to cut time from the next couple of segments. But it added an extra layer, because now it seems like the way they're going, it feels like, and I could be wrong about this, it feels like the way they're going, my instincts tell me that Drew is going to win the title from Seth Rollins. He will be crowned heavyweight champion in front of a crowd. CM Punk and him might have like a post-match brawl, and that could lead to Damian Priest cashing in. CM Punk could lay out Drew McIntyre with the GTS, and that could lead to Damian Priest cashing in. You know, I just have that feeling that if it's going to happen, it'll happen in this match. I don't see Damian Priest cashing in on Cody. I see Damian Priest cashing in here, because it just feels like Damian specifically, and maybe Rhea Ripley, but I would say Damian specifically is going to have a babyface run this year. It just feels like that's what's going on. I could be wrong, because it's also sort of like Gunther might also be, you know, having his babyface run also. But I'm not sure, because the way that the matches were booked on last night's show, with Sami Zayn losing to Bronson Reed, I'm starting to wonder if Sammy is actually going to beat Gunther. Like, I'm not sure if Sammy's really over, right? Maybe not as much as he was last year when he was in the Bloodline, but he's really a top guy now, and having him win the title at WrestleMania wouldn't be the worst move ever made. However, at the same time, I don't know. I also feel like Gunther maybe should lose it to a Braun Breaker or somebody who's still on their way up. Sami Zayn is already up, you know, but having a Braun Breaker type of character, you know, that could be a thing. That right there could be like, you would think that would be the guy to beat, you know, after Braun replaced Brock at the Royal Rumble. You know, they could have gone with that, but instead Braun Breaker's going to be on SmackDown, just, I guess, wrestling jobbers for a little while until they give him something to do. So, and same thing with Jade Cargill. You know, now I'm starting to wonder if we're actually going to get the Jade Cargill Nia Jax match. We're probably not going to get Bianca and Jade Cargill, which is what I wanted. You know, I thought that'd be a great match. Or if they give that to us, it would be another pay-per-view. But, you know, people have been saying that WWE is kind of back to the Attitude Era. I'm not sure if I want to say that, but they're definitely back to having attitude. There's a lot more profanity on the show, even though it is bleeped, and Rock obviously gets approval for that. And Cody also has some profane words, and Punk. But if you know about it ahead of time, you know, they can bleep it. And so there's a lot of that on the show. But if you go to the shows live, apparently the profanity is there on the live feed. So maybe they are moving past the PG era now. Like, it really feels that way, right? Like we're going into a new era. I don't know if I'm not going to call it Attitude Era 2. I'm not going to say that, because I don't know if we're going to get back to the bra and panties type of stuff at all, or like the overabundance of weapons. I don't see that. Or like having porn star characters and pimps, and I just don't see that. But it's definitely got more of an edge. No argument to be made. Obviously, I mean more of an edge in the subjective term, not Adam Copeland, the TNT champion in AEW. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Raw. I will be back tonight or tomorrow with my review for X-Men 97, Season 1, Episode 3. Take care.